Welcome to Chakra Curious, your virtual workshop on an intro to chakras and how they impact your body, energy, mind, and mood. I'm Ashley Bennett.
I'm Lisa Bennett.
And we are co-owners of Life Reiki Studio. We help individuals and businesses implement stress reduction practices through Reiki training classes, individualized one-on-one sessions, circles, ceremonies, and workshops. And we're so happy to be here with you. Thank you for joining us.
And I am Dr. Melli, owner of Melilla Health, and I offer mindfulness and meditation classes and workshops and events, and really work towards fostering a healing community. And now we've gone virtual, so all of our classes and workshops are offered via Zoom as well.
Awesome. So just to give a look into our agenda today, we are going to go through an intro to chakras, tuning in, and then ending with a Reiki guided meditation. So what are the chakras? In brief synopsis, basically the chakras are energy center points that conduct a flow of energy throughout our body. Each chakra is related to an organ or gland in the body. So when our chakras become blocked or overactive or underactive, basically just aren't functioning at their highest and not moving energy freely through the body, we can develop physical or mental emotional ailments. And that stagnation of energy is not good in any form. So when we have our chakras open and flowing freely, we experience more health, joy, trust, and love of life. There are many energy center points in our body, but we focus mainly, and most practices focus mainly on the major 7 chakras, which run in a vertical line down the center of your body. And when speaking to the chakras, we begin at the base, the bottom, and work our way to the crown or the top. So our root chakra is our base chakra, and this chakra rules our ability to feel safe, secure, grounded, and our emotional need for interconnectedness. So that's really our true innate want to feel accepted and to develop a tribe that we lean on and just create in our everyday lives. And when our root chakra is balanced, we are trusting, independent, physically healthy, fearless, and graceful. If our chakra, again, speaking to it being blocked or over or underactive, depending on the experiences of our lives, as well as sort of our emotional mood or energy, depending on those experiences, then we can have our chakras be overactive or underactive. So when our root chakra is overactive, we have and can experience some greed, some restlessness, some dominance, or even violence towards ourselves and others. And if it's underactive, then we can feel unloved, fearful, unsure, and frustrated. So I know that it can be difficult in those overactive or underactive times to identify some of these, kind of difficult emotions or characteristics. So that's why we really look into the next part of this workshop as we tune in and work through techniques for relieving these emotions. So I know that can be difficult, but we'll get there and how we can better assess how these emotions are stirring up in our body. And then physically, like I was saying, each chakra relates to a gland or body part or organ in the body. So physically, the root chakra controls or rules our genitals, legs, feet, and adrenals. And the root chakra is also located at the base of our spine. And as we move up into what's called the sacral chakra, that location is about 2 inches below our navel. And our sacral chakra rules our creative energy center. It's where we birth what we want to manifest and share with the world. It also rules our sexuality, and also has the connection for our relationship to our parents. And if you're a parent yourself, also your relationship to your children as well as your parents. When our sacral chakra is balanced, we express our true and authentic selves. We are emotionally balanced, passionate, friendly, and playful. When we are overactive in this chakra, we can be manipulative, bring about negative attention, and feel a need for control or power. If it's underactive, we can experience social anxiety, feel lost, guilty, or just generally concerned about, what other people think about us. And on a physical level, our sacral chakra rules our spleen, kidneys, ovaries, uterus, reproductive system, and the bladder.
So even thinking about too, how past experiences or past traumas can impact today, right? Right now, even thinking about we're experiencing stay-at-home orders from a pandemic, thinking about the root chakra and the impact it has on the adrenal glands, we might be feeling fight, flight. Or perhaps we have a past of sexual trauma and thinking about the sacral chakra and how that impacts sexuality. So knowing that past experiences and traumas can impact blockages or barriers or lead our chakras to be unbalanced as well.
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you for adding that. Now continuing to move up into our, what is called solar plexus chakra. This is about 4 inches above our navel, where the sacral was 2 inches below. This is now 4 inches above. And our solar plexus chakra really is our body's battery and where our inner strength resonates. It also is where our motivation and ambition to pursue goals comes from. It's also known as our transformation center. So this is our ability to change the way that we think and act, can all sort of just really flow through here. There's also that saying, trust your gut. So this is where our instincts lie. And also I want to mention that the 3 lower chakras, so the root, the sacral, and the solar plexus that we're now learning about, represent really our physical world, where the top 3 represent our spiritual world. So again, trusting your gut and instincts as you go about your day-to-day life and your reality. Does that situation make me feel good? Do I feel bad? Just really trusting your gut. I think we've all heard that saying before. And when our solar plexus chakra is balanced, we are mentally and intuitively clear. Again, that's where kind of the instincts come from. We're confident, respectful of ourselves, and respectful of others. We easily problem solve, have integrity, self-esteem, and radiate calmness. So I think what's really interesting about having a balanced solar plexus chakra is that you can be confident and outgoing while still being calm. When we get sort of that like jittery energy and kind of over the top, that's more ego energy rather than just a balanced solar plexus that is confident while still remaining calm. If it is overactive, we can be judgmental, critical of self and others, stubborn, and somewhat of a bully. That can also be to yourself or to others. And underactive, we experience low self-esteem, procrastination, and apathy. Physically, the solar plexus rules our pancreas, which regulates our blood sugar in our body, our stomach, liver, gallbladder, and intestines. So as we move up into the heart chakra, this is really in the center of your chest, right between your breasts. That's where this chakra lives. And also, as I was just explaining, that the bottom 3 represent our physical world, and the next 3 after the heart, because now we're on number 4 of 7, represent our spiritual world. The chakra is a really beautiful connection place, and it is the bridge between the physical world and the spiritual world. And you'll start to see some of that explained here as well. So the heart chakra rules love, breath, balance, relationship, and unity. And when it's balanced, we feel loved, cared for, and we love ourselves. So self-love is equally important. We share with and relate to others easily, creating trust, connection, and community with those around us. We're emotionally in balance, embrace connection, have hope, and a contagiously good vibe. So this is where we start to see that bridge where we're creating trust and community with those around us, but we're also starting to talk about vibrations, which really is expanding out into our auric field, which is our energy field. We can have a whole workshop on that as well, but basically just tapping into sort of the energy that you are giving out into the world that people react with before you even introduce yourself to them. So having a contagiously good vibe, just being in that balanced state, really radiating from your heart. And when our heart chakra is overactive, we can feel self-entitled or jealous, and we can also blame others for our own emotions or be overgivers. So there is a thing is, giving too much. So again, focusing back on that self-love, how are you taking care of yourself as well as others? And when it's underactive, we feel unloved or needy. We can have a fear of rejection, and because of that fear of rejection, we end up distancing ourselves from others. And then physically, our heart chakra represents our heart, our lymphatic system, and our immune system, as well as a lot of our respiratory system. All right, moving up into our throat chakra, which is really right in the center of your throat, or where an Adam's apple is, just kind of that point. And the throat chakra rules speech, communication, and expression. In etheric energy, it also represents dreaming. So again, starting to see into that spiritual world, that spiritual sense. It's also known as our permission center, which I find very interesting, that we need to almost give ourselves permission to forgive in order to heal, move forward. And when we give ourselves permission to do that, then we move into its balanced state, which is an ability to let things go, especially our own past choices. So we don't dwell on the past. We also don't really dwell on the present or the future anxieties. And we have sort of this knowingness, this wisdom that all of our experiences create the bigger life picture. So what I find really interesting about that, though, is that you do have to give yourself permission in order to have a balanced throat chakra. Also, when it's balanced, we can express our views and opinions in a healthy way and really be speaking our truth out into the world. When it's overactive, we can be stubborn, maybe speak too much, and be seen as criticizing in a negative way. And when it's underactive, we're afraid to speak publicly, we're codependent, timid, and find it difficult to live in the present moment. And from a physical perspective, the throat chakra rules our parathyroid, our ears, our sinuses, the upper respiratory system, and the jaw and teeth area. So really just kind of in this circular area.
So even thinking about like a very maybe current example that some of us might be feeling right now. And of course, I had a Reiki session with Ashley, a distance Reiki session last week, and thinking about, I was experiencing a lot of really significant jaw pain, and a lot of really intense sort of jaw tension. And of course, being in my profession, oftentimes I'm giving and really sort of saving face, especially right now during these stay-at-home orders, and sort of just projecting this like, I'm fine, I'm okay, I'm really okay, I'm fine. And what Ashley found was there was a lot of sort of blockage in my throat chakra, which coincides pretty significantly with all that jaw pain that I was experiencing. So even in thinking about allowing ourselves, right now we're in a climate with stay-at-home orders where there's a lot of anxiety, there's a lot of stress, and really having a hard time connecting with that. And that might manifest in our chakras, that might manifest physically, but Ashley really brings up a great point about allowing yourself, giving yourself permission. Maybe it's even giving yourself permission to feel.
Mm-hmm. Definitely. Yeah. And I love that you're saying, that you there was that kind of that blockage in your throat chakra and it was manifesting physically, a lot of times the things that do manifest physically are signs to us that something is wrong with that chakra. So that's why it's really amazing to learn, even just this introductory course on, what controls that chakra. So then when you feel out of balance or you're having those things manifest physically, then you can look into the deeper meaning and try to heal it at an energetic level, which will just heal it at a physical level as well. So thank you for that. So continuing to move up, we're going to talk about the third eye chakra, which you guessed it, is right between your eyebrows. And the third chakra rules our spiritual awakening, inner peace, and illumination. So when this chakra is open and moving freely or balanced, we easily communicate with spirit. There is still a bit of duality here where we see spirit outside of ourselves and, something that we speak to external of ourselves. So that's what's interesting about the third eye chakra. We haven't fully moved into a complete oneness with spirit or God or the universe, whatever that is for you. But when it is, also when it's balanced, we feel intuitive and receive intuitive messages easily. So again, just speaking to that, easily communicating with spirit, and that's how we receive those messages. We're also charismatic, magnetic, and sure of our purpose on earth. So this is also, we're able to manifest a lot easier, make things happen in our reality, the desires that we have for ourselves. And we can also be seen as wise to others, regardless of age. When it's overactive, we can feel lost, worried, or just spaced out. If it's underactive, we really just can't see the bigger picture of life. We're easily influenced by others, and we doubt our decisions. And on a physical level, the third eye chakra rules our nervous system, hypothalamus, eyes, and pituitary gland.
So I'm wondering too, Ashley, just a question that came to mind is a lot of us right now are being forced to sort of stay at home, be with ourselves and our loved ones a lot of the time. And maybe even like confronting a little bit of this maybe spiritual anxiety or like existential and meaning and purpose anxiety. Mm-hmm. Is that where this is held?
Yeah, definitely. That's why huge recommendations right now are like meditation practices and, just those self-care practices, because all of those things will help balance out your third eye chakra and help you feel that connection. It also will live a bit in our crown chakra as well. When we go into that, that will give more of an understanding as well. But yeah, definitely. It's a great question. Cool. So moving to our seventh chakra, the crown chakra, which is right at the top of your head. And this chakra rules in enlightenment, pure awareness, and goes beyond all duality. So really feeling like we are one with spirit. So moving from the third eye to the crown and really having that general sense of oneness with spirit, God, the universe, however you refer to that. When it's balanced, we have a glow about us. So again, tapping back into that spiritual side. So this is really talking about our aura again. And we have a glow about us, meaning that our aura is strong, that our aura is felt, and we have basically a resiliency to like negative distractions or negative interpretations impacting us. So we also live fully in the present moment. We feel, again, that connection. We also exude compassion, peace, harmony, love, and thoughtfulness, and also bringing in just that knowingness of like the bigger picture of life, that, everything works out, everything is fine. It really brings a lot of anxiety down when we truly feel this imbalance. When it's overactive, we crave attention and feel the need to be popular. When it's underactive, we can feel misunderstood, actually find it hard to have fun, don't really see the fun in life. And we can be unaware or just downright deny our spiritual connection to spirit, to God, the universe, divine, however you refer. And physically, on the physical level, this represents the head, the cerebral cortex, and the pineal gland. So that is our intro to chakras. I hope that was enlightening as we end on the crown chakra for some of you to learn a little bit more about how you're feeling. But now that we've learned about the chakras, I'm super excited to turn it over to Dr. Melli, so we can get into tuning in and just discovering more about ourselves.
Thank you, Ashley. So we're going to talk about a few steps to take when we're wanting to tune inward. Of course, and that's why we started this workshop with the introduction to the chakras, because knowledge is really our first step, and awareness is also our second step. So wanting to think about how we tune in, how we become more aware of maybe some of the blockages, maybe some of the barriers, maybe some of the challenges that we're experiencing, we need to bring awareness and shed light on some of those things. So the 4 steps I'm going to talk a little bit about right now as we think about tuning in. The first one is mindful attention. We're going to talk about allowing for connection, investigating these sensations, these things with curiosity and openness. And we're going to talk a little bit too about how to nurture some of those things and what that might look like. So the first step being mindful attention. And I affiliated it with this picture because mindful attention, bringing awareness to tuning in, doesn't always need to look as perfect as this individual looks kind of tuning in and connecting, right? We always think about what meditation, what mindfulness, what tuning in should look like. And the reality is it does not need to look like anything. And it can look like anything. So when we bring attention to the present moment, to our sensations, it can be something more formal, where you're sort of sitting with your feet on the ground, connecting in, really scanning your body, or it can be as informal as you're taking a walk or you're pausing in the middle of a chat or a conversation to scan your body to see what's going on. And when we're talking about mindful attention, we're really only talking about bringing awareness to something in the present moment. What is going on in my body right now? What are some of the physical sensations that I'm experiencing right now? And moving away from labeling or judging that specific experience, right? And so we'll talk a little bit about how to connect deeper with those sensations and how to nourish some of those sensations as well.
I just have to say, love that you are bringing that point up, the formal versus informal, and just allowing yourself to bring, attention and awareness to the present moment. But it's also just allowing us to let go of the expectation of like what tuning in looks like. I think so many times it's like, oh, having, cross-legged exactly like this photo, and having that expectation can almost deter people from tuning in or checking in. So just let go of all expectations and do it your way.
And we're constantly, you bring up the point of we're like constantly shoulding all over ourselves. And I use that term deliberately because meditation should not look like anything. It doesn't have to look like anything, but so constantly we're telling ourselves it should look like this. It doesn't look perfect. It should look like that. I should be more mindful, right? And we want to remove those judgments entirely. And if they're there, that's okay. Acknowledge that they're there and bring your attention back to the present moment.
Yeah. Beautiful.
Yeah.
So when we talk about allowing for connection, right? When we're scanning our bodies, maybe we're scanning our chakras from the root to the crown, we want to allow for connection. It's best for us and it's beneficial for us to connect with those physiological sensations, those body sensations, those blockages that we're experiencing. And I bring this up because so often our tendency is to avoid discomfort, to avoid things that are unpleasant. And so we really want to allow for that connection to happen. And when we open that up, we can really allow ourselves to connect with our bodies, with our environment in the present moment, versus the tendency, which is oftentimes for us to avoid, to distract, to binge watch Netflix, to really disconnect, to distract ourselves, which can sometimes be the tendency for us to do when we are experiencing uncomfortable physiological sensations. And so that relates to responding versus reacting, right? When we're not allowing for a connection, when we're setting that sort of avoidance up, we're disconnecting from our reality, we're disconnecting from our experience, our tendency is that we are sort of reacting to those things. And the reality is when we're starting to feel discomfort and feel uncomfortable and we panic because there's discomfort there, we're reacting. When really we want to allow for connection, be curious about those things so we can respond in the appropriate way. So there's a little bit more reflection there as we think about responding, right? Pausing, scanning, being mindful, allowing for connection, being curious, not shitting all over ourselves, right? That really allows us to better connect with our bodies, better connect with our emotions, better connect with our triggers in a more curious way and respond to them and nurture them as appropriate.
Mm-hmm.
So when we think about investigating with curiosity, right? When we are scanning our bodies, acknowledging what sensations are coming up for us, it can be helpful to use more descriptor words versus words that are judgmental. So for example, acknowledging that there's maybe a sensation of warmth, maybe jitteriness, maybe butterflies in your heart or your stomach, versus our tendency is to label that immediately. Oh my gosh, I'm experiencing anxiety, or oh my gosh, I'm experiencing a heart attack, or oh my gosh, this is really scary. Oh my gosh, what if I can't make it through this? What if this feeling lasts forever? Our tendency is to label with judgment those specific sensations. And the reality is sometimes those can really spiral and snowball out of control and actually lead us to feel more discomfort for a longer period of time. So it can be helpful, instead of using those labels, those judgments like this is anxiety, right? This is stress, just really more focusing on using words like comfort, pleasant, or uncomfortable or unpleasant. And if it's helpful and available to you, using a scale from either 0 to 100, 0 being comfortable, 100 being uncomfortable, and really identifying where your sensations are on that comfort or discomfort scale. And the more often we are doing those body scans, right, informal, checking in with how I'm doing, right, tuning in to how I'm doing, the more often we do that, the more likely we are going to catch an uncomfortable sensation lower down on this scale. When we're feeling discomfort at around a 50, it's going to be much easier to nourish a 50 level of discomfort than when we're all the way over at 100 level of discomfort. So it can be really helpful to check in informally several times throughout the day with yourself, because then we get a much better sense and a much better awareness of what's going on in our bodies, what's going on in our minds, what's going on with our emotions. And so really focusing more on, I'm just going to investigate, scan what's going on with me right now. And I'm going to investigate it with curiosity, with openness. Look at these sensations as we are receiving information from our bodies. And when we receive information, we're learning something.
I really, really like that point of view. Or that way of looking at it, because it really starts out in a more positive way, instead of, oh my gosh, I'm, all these things that you had just brought up. It's, well, let me just check and see what my discomfort level is. Is it something I can, roll with, or do I need to adjust? And that's a really excellent not visual as well as a positive start. So thank you.
And I love that you bring that up, Lisa, too, because our tendency really is to label emotions or physiological sensations as bad or good, or positive or negative. And so we want to remove ourselves exactly from that framework and use terminology that doesn't imply judgment. Good and bad, those definitely imply judgment, right? And so that impacts how we're experiencing our physiological sensations. So thank you for bringing light to that, definitely.
Yeah. Thank you.
So the last step is focusing on nurturing. And again, going back to thinking about our tendency is to avoid, right? Our tendency is to distract. Our tendency is to make the sensation go away, right? That's what our tendency is. And so we don't always need to focus on changing or altering discomfort. Sometimes nurturing discomfort really can look like sitting with discomfort and connecting deeper to that discomfort. Because when we do that, that really allows us to learn, again, with curiosity, so much more about the meaning behind some of these physiological sensations, right? Thinking about, are there times in the past maybe where I have felt this same experience of discomfort, where I've had similar thoughts rushing through my mind? And so it allows us to apply what we know already, and it allows us to learn more about us, more about our bodies, more about our chakras. And so sometimes I really want to bring light to the fact that we don't always need to rush towards change, 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 change. That sometimes sitting with discomfort can be its own way of nurturing that discomfort. So when we're experiencing that discomfort so much so that we almost disconnect from our bodies, our minds, right? There's a certain threshold there when we're experiencing it either too much or with too much intensity, and we really do not connect, or no longer even in the present moment. And so when we become too far that we're disconnected, it can be helpful to practice techniques and skills that we refer to as grounding, or things that help ground ourselves. And when we think about grounding, it really, those techniques do just that. They recenter us into that mindful awareness piece, that mindful awareness, which is step one. It brings us back, right? We have our little fishing pole where that's our grounding. We're reeling us back into the present moment when we get too far away from it, and regrounding ourselves with specific tools. And that can look like either grounding with mindfulness, and that can be connecting in with your senses. Maybe noticing, okay, what are 5 things that I can describe and look at in detail right now in the room? So even acknowledging, okay, I see a white mug. It looks maybe like it's ceramic, it's smooth, it's maybe a little bit cool to the touch, and really, again, investigating with curiosity your current environment. Using things like texture, touch, right? Oftentimes I'm sitting in my job, so maybe even it's touching what you're sitting on. So I'm sitting on, right now, a gray chair. It's sort of velvety, it's smooth, it's pretty warm, there's gold legs, there's a back to it. So really connecting with what's in your surroundings is a great way to practice mindfulness. Another thing that you can use, which I know Lisa uses too, is aromatherapy, right? Using essential oils, using your sense of smell, maybe putting a drop of lavender, rubbing your hands together, and taking a deep breath in, mindfully connecting with, can you taste the lavender? What does it feel like in your hands when you rub your hands together? Do they become warm? Really connecting with every little piece of the sensations that you're experiencing in that moment. Another way to ground can include changing or altering our thoughts, which sounds odd, right? Thinking about our thoughts, but oftentimes when we're getting too far disconnected, we're way into that future, or maybe even way into the past in an unhelpful way. And we might be having thoughts like, I'll just use some example from stay at home. What if we never get to go out again? What if this discomfort won't go away? What if this impacts me and my family? Those thoughts tend to really plummet us into the future type, or what we call catastrophic thinking or catastrophizing. Other times, maybe our thoughts include all or nothing, always or never. It's always going to be like this. I'm always going to feel this stressed out. I'm always going to feel this anxious. I'm never going to feel better. When we have those types of thoughts, they do disconnect us from our reality, and they do make us feel more uncomfortable. And so changing those thoughts to just for today, right? Just for today, I'm going to try a new mindfulness tool. Just for today, I'm going to practice meditation and see if it helps my level of discomfort. Just for today, I am going to check in 3 times a day and scan my body's what's going on. Just for today, I will try and limit my worry. Focusing and changing our thoughts is a really helpful technique. And if you find a mantra, this is similar to how we create mantras, create intentions. When you find a mantra or intention or a thought that really sits well with you, and you kind of like, oh, this is a thought that leads me to feel a little bit more comfortable, I highly encourage you to write that thought down, put it on a Post-it and slap it on the bathroom mirror so you can see it every day. Put it in your phone, take a picture of it, have it be your phone background. There's so many ways that we can integrate mindfulness and grounding into our day-to-day lives. That doesn't look like that woman sitting cross-legged, closing her eyes with a beautiful lake in the background, right? Another way that we can stay grounded and nurture ourselves is through meditation. And if there are other ways that help you stay grounded, they don't have to be on the slide. We didn't have to talk about them today. Throw those in your toolbox too. We don't know what works for us until we try it out. So try things out, and if they work, throw those in your nurture toolbox. An amazing way, thinking about, I introduced meditation. This is an amazing way to nurture our physiological sensations, to help ground us, to help bring us into our present moment. And I'm really excited for the remainder of this workshop. I'm going to turn it over to Lisa, who is going to guide us in a beautiful Reiki guided meditation.
Thank you, Dr. Melly. And thank you, Ashley, for both of you, the knowledge that you've imparted today, just in an intro, really does spark my curiosity for further knowledge. But it's my pleasure to share this meditation with you today. And this meditation can be used to clear, to restore, and to receive. So give that gratitude to yourself for taking the time for you today. And so we are going to start in now on our meditation, and I would like to ask you to reach your hands up above your head, give a good stretch, and as you bring them down, exhale, bring your hands to heart, prayer position. And Reiki will honor your free will. So I would like to ask you to be open to receiving Reiki, and ask yourself to be open to receiving Reiki. Take a couple another deep breaths, and please feel free to close your eyes if you feel guided to do so, or soften your gaze. Give yourself another deep breath. Allow that breath to settle in. Focus on the space between your palms. Feel free to place your hands comfortably on your body or stay as you are. And just breathe in this moment. Breathe in this breath and feel your presence. Feel the presence of your divine spirit and your human spirit right here, completely whole and beautiful in your body. We invite the highest source of enlightened spiritual energy to join us. Breathe in the light of the divine earth and the light of divine source, God, universe. Breathe in deep. Feel the light on your breath as you blow out all the ways and the worries of the world to be healed in the light. Continue focusing on the space between your palms. Or just allowing the openness of the comfortable space you found yourself in. Gently brush away any thoughts that may arise. As you breathe in deep and breathe in that light, feel the love, fill your body. Allow the energy to balance each chakra that we learned about today. Starting from your root, flowing up through your crown. Let the energy flow. As you breathe in, the light within you awakens. The light within you is revealed. Acknowledge your light. Allow your light to fill your energy source, every chakra. Look inside and say thank you to you. Appreciate you and how deeply you love. Together we say thank you to the divine ones who join us and ask for your continued guidance, healing, and empowerment. We say thank you. Amen. Namaste. Begin to bring yourself back to the room. Flutter your eyes open and allow yourself to check in. Experience the difference between the beginning and now. Give yourself a moment. Take as long as you would like.
Well, in the presence of gratitude, we would just like to take a moment to thank everybody for coming to the workshop, tuning into the workshop, tuning into yourself. And by doing that, by investing this time in yourself, you truly are creating a ripple effect that will extend far beyond you and truly help contribute to the wellness of the world. So we thank you for being here. And I also thank my lovely colleagues, Lisa and Melly, for your inspiration and your knowledge and your guidance and your loveliness. Thank you so much.
Thank you all.
Thank you. Love and light to both of you and to all. You know, I do have a thought that I would like to add. That was just roughly under 10 minutes of meditation. So it does show you don't have to meditate long. It just has to be something that you're open to, that you request yourself to be open to, and you just take the 10 minutes.
Yeah, definitely.
But thank you.
Thank you. All right, take care.
Bye. Until next time.